Welcome back to this Millivolt LED circuit, which I'm trying to make as efficient as possible. As a quick reminder, here's the circuit diagram as it was last time, before I flew my radio control plane into a tree and had to make a video about that. But anyway, moving on, you can see there's a solar panel on there, and that's where things are up to at the moment. But let me quickly explain what's happened. So originally we had 100 turns of 40 AWG on the right hand side, and on the left was 5 turns of 30 AWG, and that worked pretty well, and we saw some decent millivolt returns there, about 45 millivolts. I then changed to 100 plus 100, and that one enabled things to go down to, well, 17.7 millivolts apparently. Let me show you a quick clip of that. Right. 42, bring it round. There's the old record, just gone flying past. Are we still on? Yes, we are. 29.2 millivolts. We're on the 200 millivolt scale. If I take this all the way to the left, what in the world are we looking at there? That's physically as far as that pot will go. The light is very slightly on. 17.7 millivolts. And now I've changed to 150 on one side and 150 on the other. Both of them are 40 AWG. And there's something interesting I found out about the running of this circuit. And the thing is, it does something very, very peculiar. As you can see, the light is not on, but there is light from a table lamp type thing here. But if I get a flashlight and I click this onto the panel, there we go, the light's on. Now I can turn it off and this will stay on all day. It's quite peculiar, like I say. If I cover over the panel quickly, it'll go out, come back in. It'll go out, come back in. But if I leave my hand over for say 3 seconds, roughly like that, take it away, it's now no longer working. It won't start up unless I take the flashlight. There we go, and it's running again. There's just that is a weird bit of behaviour. So what I thought to myself was, well, maybe it's got something to do with the size of that capacitor, and let's see what happens by changing it, say, to 120 picofarads. That'll be a 121 capacitor. I've got one over here, there we are. So I'll put that one in place and see if it changes it. But as you can see, that thing's still running. Hover over, do it longer, and it goes off. So the 224 is out, the 121 is in. If I connect up the power, well, the solar cell, there we are, it just comes on. It's absolutely fine now. I don't really know what happened there, but this whole little idea was because of something I'll show next. And that is this here, which has been my most efficient blocking oscillator circuit. It's about 10 years old, and you can tell because look at the yellow on that breadboard. Oh wow, the sun's got it, and you know, but this thing will run in pretty much any light. If I turn this table lamp off, and you can see how dark it is in the room now, it's about 5 PM. And you can see that, you know, it still carries on going. So that is what I've tried to replicate with the other circuit. And lighting up indoors is what I've tried to do with this circuit here. And it seems to be going quite well. I've just thought of something. I want to try this, you know, first thing in the morning, just with a natural light, and see what happens. Here's something quite surprising and delightfully so. It's only just turned 9 o'clock in the morning. A zoom in there, 9:09 in the morning, and yet you can see with all the shadows and everything that this circuit's running. That panel is laying flat on the right hand side that's powering the circuit, and of course you can see with my slight shadow there, the other one, which was formerly my best performing indoor running circuit, you know, is going off with just a little bit of shadow, but it's also pointed more towards the light of the room coming in. So I'm absolutely delighted with that for the time of day and lack of light. So here is the new circuit diagram, basically replacing the 224 with the 121, just any smaller picofarad type of capacitor, and also the freshly wound 150 plus 150 coil.